Okay, I'll keep an eye on people strolling in as we get started here. I want to respect everybody's time. So I'm just going to start. I'm Coach Joanne. Welcome, everybody. And welcome to the webinar today. This is really cool. And this webinar today is actually a success of using my human design. So hopefully you'll learn some stuff today about your own and be able to implement this in your life and get some success as well. But I'll talk a little bit about that, why that's true once we get started here. Let me start by sharing my screen here. Admit some more people who are coming in. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Karen. Good to see you. Share my desktop with everybody and we will get started. Okay. Let's make this pretty for everybody. Here we go. All right, so we'll start with the obvious of, what is it that I know and why am I here to even say anything to you guys? I've had many career moves over my life. I started out as an engineer, got out of that, and then moved into training the astronauts down at NASA, which was sort of engineering, but not as much. Got softer and softer skills as I got through my corporate career, had 3 kids, 3 sons, had to have another career shift, started my own business over 20 years ago. So I've had a lot of career moves and that's reflective in my design. I am a line 3, which I'll talk about, which is definitely somebody who jumps around a lot. So if you've got a little dot 3 up at the top of your chart, you may be similar to me. The other thing that I want to talk about is that I got into human design. The head of my coaching school actually introduced it to me back in 2014. And at that time, he wanted to really incorporate it into the coaching that he did. And I thought it was way too early. I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't convinced. And so I've literally spent the last, how many years is that? That's a lot of years, like almost 8 years now, I guess, 7.5 years. Looking at this, experimenting with it, learning a lot. And it has just proven to be kind of crazy, eerily accurate for people. So I think it's really cool. I think everybody needs to hear about it and learn about it. But that's how long I've been looking at it. It's almost 8 years now before I've really come out to really share this with everybody. I had a bunch of shakeups in the last 2 years that maybe all of you have had as well. I'm not sure. Where I've shifted my coaching to be definitely on a more spiritual, more woo-woo, if you will, bent with using human design and using breathwork techniques and really incorporating, getting your body into stuff. So huge shift for me that I've been moving into this year, new logo, new everything. So just want you guys to all know that, and that this is really, this webinar today is really the culmination of me, making that move just really a couple months ago to stop this, just to start this. So enough about me. It's not about me, it's about you here today. So let's look at that. So I'm going to do a quick, let's see if I can pull up a poll. I've never used a poll before, but here we go. Let's try this one. What are you rethinking right now? Your career, your job, your place to live, your friends, your network. If you're near your phone, this should pop up for you, hopefully. Oh, it is, it's working. Haha, this is so cool. I love technology. So we'll just let this go for a minute. We've had a lot going on, of course, in the last few years. Our world is really shifting and causing us to rethink a lot of things. So wow, this is really equally split here. Interesting between all of them. Interesting. Oops, let me go back. I hit the wrong button here. Cool. So results are still coming in here. Let's give it another couple seconds here. All right, we've got, I think, probably most of the people who can vote. Let me see. So I'm not sure if you can see this, how this works, but it looks to me, career job is 64%, Place to live is 57%. Wow, a lot of us are rethinking that, huh? Friends network 36 and health 43. All right, so thank you for participating in that. Oh, here we go, share results. Cool. There we go. So hopefully you guys can all see that. I have never seen this myself in a Zoom meeting, so I'm not sure how that shows up, but that's cool. Thank you. So let me get out of the poll. All right, so moving on, our path today, we're gonna look at several tools, just a couple kind of what I would call basic, I hesitate to say run of the mill, but more of your standard tools of getting to know yourself. And I'm going to give you links so that you can take those, do those tools all for free yourself. And then we will get right into the human design and energy stuff. Okay. So that is the plan. And another question for you is, how long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself? And this comes to me, one of my sons, my youngest son, Stephen, who is really my teacher in this lifetime. He's been very challenging, but what he has taught me is, is really going for what I want and demanding the best for me. He, for instance, got into all sorts of colleges and he could have actually gone for free, much to my chagrin, but he said, no, I want the best for me. I'm going to Penn. So just a little example from him. And I was like, oh, alrighty then. I'm not sure I would have done that at his age, but I have to say that I think it was really the right move for him. So how long are you going to wait to demand the best for yourself? And where are you compromising in your life? You know, just a thought for you to think about. So my coaching is all about getting to know you really well. I think that's the basis for success in life is we can get, tossed around in this world by what everyone else thinks we should do, who everyone else thinks we should be. And it's easy for that to happen. But if you really know yourself really well and have that in the core of your being, in your body, I call it, really embodying your own brilliance, that is the key. So that's why we're going to look at some of these tools that are coming up here. All right, this is the key, embodying your brilliance, not just knowing stuff in your head, not just taking some assessments, but really feeling it, throughout yourself. Okay, so let's start with a real easy one. And I say that this is an easy one because it is an assessment. It is a, check the box, click the one that works for you. I think this is actually probably one of those, scale of 1 to 5 ones that I recommend. But assessments are cool, but all that assessments do is really confirm to you what you already knew about yourself. In coaching over 20 years, this is what I see time and time again. People come to me and they think that there's like some part of themselves that they don't really understand or know. And what it really is they really do know what they want, but they need some sort of outside thing to confirm to them, who they really are. So this is from somebody named Dr. Seligman from University of Pennsylvania. And he wrote a book called Authentic Happiness years ago and came up with something called positive psychology. So if you haven't heard of positive psychology, Google it. It's the idea that psychology used to be about, or was always about, taking people who were depressed and making them, normal, I guess, okay. And he looked at it and said, well, what if we took people that weren't really depressed, but just your standard everyday people? And what if we could take them up to be happy? So he's come up with a lot of happiness theory. And on this particular website that I've got down here, and you will also get this website sent to you in your post-webinar email. So don't worry about writing this all down or capturing it somehow. I've got it all covered for you in the follow-up email. Go to this particular site and he's got many, many assessments. I mean, you could spend a lifetime doing the assessments that he's got there. So don't fall into that rabbit hole. I recommend the one here called the VIA Character Strength Survey. VIA Character Strength Survey. And that is a really cool survey. It'll show you some of the strengths that have a little, kind of cooler names to them, like the art, like woo, which is winning others over. Strengths that aren't your run-of-the-mill strengths. So that's a really cool one. So first thing you do, go to that website, take that VIA Character Strength Survey, take that assessment, find out your strengths. That's a great way to start to get to know yourself. Second thing that you really need to get a handle on is what you value. What you value influences your decisions. So I'll give you an example. You go out to buy, two people go out to buy a piece of art, and one buys the piece of art because they value beauty. They love beauty in their home, and that's why they buy the piece of art. The second person buys the piece of art because what they value is economic security, and they buy it because it's an investment and they think it's going to pay off for them. So it's the same decision that somebody made buying a piece of art, but the values is influencing how they came to that decision. So this is very important for you to know, because your values can help you to make your choices in life. People are still coming in. Hi, Kathy, join us. We're just getting started with some of the tools. Our values are formed very early on in our life, during our childhood, and they can change over our lifetime a bit. And a cool way for you to do this one, again, is this website here that I've got listed at the bottom. Again, this will be in your follow-up email, and it's an online way for you to, it'll help you choose your values and knock out, the ones which are most important for you. So that's another really cool, fun, kind of quicker way to get out what's important to you. All right, let's move on to our last one. This one I really love. This is I'm pulling out of my personal vault that I use for my coaching clients for you here today. It's something called the Passion Test. There is a book that is here called the Passion Test. You don't need to get the book. And I pride myself on helping you with things like that you don't really need. I kind of curate things for my clients and say, you don't need to waste your time and get the book. All you need to do is use the instructions that, again, I'm going to link to you in the follow-up email. I've got detailed instructions on how to do this passion test. In a nutshell, what you're going to be doing is answering the question, when my life is ideal, I am. And you're going to fill that in starting with a verb. For instance, when my life is ideal, I am sharing what I know with people and passing on really cool tools. So what you do is you create a list of all these things that come to you into your head, and give yourself a little while to come up with this. I mean, maybe even give it a week or 2 weeks to come up with a nice list of maybe 10 things. And then you're going to compare one thing to the other. So maybe I come up with sharing things is, on my list. Another might be, when my life is ideal, I'm living in a beautiful, gorgeous place with mountains. And you're going to compare the one to the other and say, if I could only have one, which one would I pick? And you're going to do that for the whole list. So this can take a little bit. So that's why I have do it right, take the time. So it can take a little bit. You're going to need to sit down and actually have like a good, probably 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes to do this comparison once you even have the list. But if you take the time to do it, it will absolutely show you what's most important to you, because at some point you're going to have on that list probably, I have enough money to do whatever I want, maybe, compared with working with people who I like and respect. And you're going to have to say, which one, if I could only have one, am I going to have? The money or the everyday interaction with people that stimulate me and I respect? So it causes you to make some really hard choices, but it is really the coolest tool in the world. So if you do use any of these three that I've just talked to you about, the authentic happiness test, the values, or this passion one, please email me and let me know if that, which one you liked, what you didn't like. I'd really like to hear about it afterwards. Okay. All right. So those are the three, let's get the basics down kind of tools. And then we're on to, let's look at your energy and your human design, right? Some really cool stuff. So I want you to pull out your chart. Hopefully you all have your charts and have that ready and in front of you so you can take a, be able to take a look at this. Look at your own chart as we go through this. And I'm going to just go through some of the basics. I'm not sure how much you all know. So we're going to start out pretty simple. Human design was channeled by a guy who changed his name to Ra Uru Hu back in 1987, I think it was, I believe. And the information came to him over kind of a week-long period, and it was so kind of disruptive to his life that at some point he didn't even tell anybody about it for like several years, because he just didn't even know what to do with this information. And what it is a combination of, you can see by looking at this basic body graph that I have in front of you, that's what it's called, that there are these centers that look kind of like the chakra system, if you're familiar with the chakras, although there's a couple more thrown in that aren't in the regular chakra system that most of us are familiar with. It also has these kind of, they're called channels going through that are linking these centers together, which kind of looks like the Kabbalah, if you're familiar with the Kabbalah at all. And if you look at the readout that you have on your chart, you've also got the planets going down. Those little symbols are the sun and the earth, which comes to us from astrology. So you've got some of that thrown in. And then when we look at the chart even more deeply in the next screen that I'll, couple screens up, you'll see all the numbers that are sprinkled about in the various centers that we have going on. And those numbers come to us from the I Ching. And if you're familiar at all with the I Ching, maybe you've seen them in a movie where they have these sticks with little lines on them. They throw them down as kind of a futuristic, let's see what's going to happen kind of thing. Well, those 64 I Ching energies, if you will, are sprinkled about the centers here, and it's the same for everyone. So everybody's centers look like this. Everybody's centers have the same numbers, which are actually called gates in those centers. What makes everything different for you as opposed to everyone else is which one of those gates, which one of those numbers, those I Ching energies is defined or lit up, probably in purple on your chart, if you got it from Human Design America, and which one of those connect to each other. That's what's going to be different in your chart. So let me run through this, the different centers. We've got up at the top, we've got this head center. That's where we get our inspiration. And physically, it's actually a bit above our head and also then into the top of our head. So it's the one center that's actually, hey, Vicki, nice to have you. We're just starting to talk about the centers. It's the one center that's a little bit actually outside of our body, which is kind of cool. The second center, the ajna, or sometimes it's called the mind, is how we do our thinking, what our thought processes are, okay? Then we've got the throat, which is very similar to the regular chakra throat center, center for communication, that kind of thing. It's also the center that helps us to manifest by literally communicating and being able to get things out there. I'll get back to that when we start talking about the types in a little bit. Moving down, we've got the identity, the self center, or sometimes called the G center, it may be called. This is all about our knowing of ourselves, who we are, the direction that we take in life, and all of the love gates. There's 4 different love gates in this particular center. In my particular chart, I have 4 love gates defined, and my purpose in life is called the vessel of love, which is kind of cool. Then looking at the heart center, which is also called the ego center, it's all about willpower. Only about half of the population has this center defined, I'll call it, which means it's turned on, connected to another center. And so all the stuff that we're taught about being able to just go out and do stuff and, lose weight or, get a college degree, whatever it might take that might, require some willpower. Only 50% of us have this little sucker defined. So, some people are, able to more, do that, but the rest of us, we really don't. So it's a real fallacy that we can just, use our willpower alone to get stuff done in this world. I'm going to drop right down to the center down here, which is the sacral center. This is a really key center for our sexuality, our life, our doing work. And when this center is turned on, it's an incredibly powerful force. If you've got that lit up on your chart, we will talk about that in just a bit. Over here on the right, we've got something called the solar plexus, or the emotional center. This is a center for all of our emotions, all of our feelings. On the left here, we've got the splenic center, the spleen kind of center. This is the oldest center. This apparently all of the animal kingdom also has in it. And it's the center for intuition, kind of that flight or fight response kind of thing. It's an in the now knowing, you know, like when you see the gazelles or whatever the animals are out in Africa that are like, you know, always on guard, waiting for the, you know, cheetah or the whatever pack to hunt them. It's that in the now instinct of knowing, you know, what's coming up and being able to react in the moment. It also holds a lot of our fears. So that's about the spleen center. And then finally down at the bottom, we have what's called the root center. And this is holds stress, adrenaline, our fuel for life, another center about getting things done. So I wanted to start with that to give you the basics so you have an idea of what's going on with your chart, so you can look at it and see, you know, understand what you're seeing a little bit. Okay, let's move on. Let's look at the actual body graph. And I apologize, this is a little blurry, but this is me. And your chart, it should look similar. So let's start with the middle and then we'll look at these outside. Well, actually, let's look at the outside ones. So you've got the numbers that are called conscious that are in black, okay? And then the numbers that are unconscious in red. This over here, let's see, this top one is the sun, starting at the top. So this is like from your astrological chart. Here's your sun, earth, moon, north node, south node, all the rest of the planets go down here, and you can look up those symbols. Next to that, you've got a number. That number 46, 1, 25, 1. The big number, the 46, that refers to that I Ching, the 64 I Ching energies. 46 for me, for everyone, is right here in this identity G center. And you can see that I have that, that is hooked up. Okay. It should, well, in some charts, you'll see it purple actually, but so that's defined for me. So that's an activated gate, they call it. All right. So these black numbers on the side here are generated from the date that you were born, just like your astrological chart. Okay. And they are things and aspects of yourself that you're probably more conscious and aware of, hence why they're called conscious. And they will show up as, oops, sorry, I got ahead there. It's being so sensitive. They will show up as the black, black lines in your body graph, okay? So all the black ones, if you look, they will show up over here. So the 46, as I said, was down here. The 25 is next to it. It also has a black line, half line hanging off of it. Then we've got like the 17 up here. If it's black and red, you've got it on both sides, all right? Okay, so let's look at this red side. The red side is when you were imprinted 3 months before you were born. The theory is in human design that the star stream, you know, there's the star field out there with all the planets and, you know, neutrinos and energy coming in the universe, imprints your body apparently 3 months before you're born, as you're just starting to get your brain development as a fetus. This side of you is called the unconscious. And again, these numbers, 15, 10, 60, and we'll get into the little numbers a little bit later, are again showing up with all the red lines in your chart, okay? So those are some of the basics of how to actually look at the chart. So if you've got numbers that are defined, as I call it, turned on, activated, between centers, you will have a whole line activated. Okay, so for me, like I've got this 4629 activated, and that's called a channel. All right, got a channel down here, 1858, and I've got a channel up here, 1716. So those are very important for you to know. The channels tell a lot about who you are and what you're about here in life. Before we move on, let me also make the point that the sun and the earth, the top two numbers on both sides, are your most influential numbers, gates for your life. And taking those four numbers is turned into what's called your incarnation cross, which really gets at your life purpose. So you really want to know what your four gates are at the top there, learn what they're about, and think about them. I mean, some of this takes like a while to come up with. Some of it's obvious, some of it will kind of play out in your life as your life goes along. I will say, for instance, for me, I've got the gate 46 up here, which is love of body, kind of love of the connection of spirit and body in this lifetime, and that we are here as a spirit kind of living out a bodily experience, you know. And I struggled with this. I was like, this isn't my son. I have no idea what this really means to me. And that last October, I took a course in breath work, and now it's become very clear to me that the breath work sessions that I got certified in were just life-changing. And so now I can see that it's this combination of, and that's why I talk about embodying your brilliance, that for me, it's all about the body and the spirit and combining those and using those tools and experiences in our life. So anyway, my point is that it might not be clear to you right at the get-go. You'll be like, I don't really get this. Think about it, contemplate it, let it kind of play out in your life and see what happens. But those two numbers, the sun and the earth on both sides, are one of the keys to really looking at why you are here in a general big picture sense. Okay. Let's move on. So what type are you? I'm going to pull up another poll. How do I get to another poll? How do I get to poll 2? I don't know. I was going to ask you guys what type you are. Oh, here we go. Type. See, just give me a minute. I got it. There we go. So there's 5 types in human design. On your chart, you can see what you are by looking there. Generators, manifesting generators, projectors, something called manifestors, and reflectors. And look at this. So we can see on the pie chart, and I'm not sure if you can still see the pie chart, but most of the people in this world are a generator or what's called a manifesting generator. They make up like 70% of the population. And that's kind of what we're seeing. Oh, we have a reflector. Oh, so cool. You'll have to put your name in the chat. And reflectors are very rare and are completely undefined and open. Very cool. All right, so I'm going to end the poll here. Let's see. Share the results with you so you guys can all see it. Isn't that cool? So we've got everybody except a manifestor here. Interesting. Interesting. All right. So, our people here are representing, we've got the reflector, which kind of puts us over the edge there. Very cool. But the manifestors and manifesting generators, generators and manifesting generators showing up in that poll, just like they do here on this chart. All right, so let's look at these types. If you are a generator, which a bunch of you are, you've got what's called this defined sacral, this red center kind of, in the belly area, all right? And as I talked about, this is the center for work. It is a motor. It is life force energy. and it's internal guidance. You can work all the time, as long as you're working on the thing that is right for you. As generators, we can get pulled into situations, I am a generator, where people ask us to do stuff for them. And once we say yes, we're in and we do it, by hook or by crook. I mean, we may not like it, but once we do it, we're in. And once our sacral is clicked on, you know, we will do the work. So some could call us that we can be, you know, kind of used as slaves. And to avoid that, we really want to make our decisions in the right way, which I'll get into in a little bit. But you want to, let me just admit another person here. You want to, as a generator, you want to wait to respond to things. So things will show up in our environment. It could be an email, it could be somebody that we meet, it could be we see something on TV, we could be driving and see a billboard, we could read a news article, just like many of you saw human design somewhere on Facebook, which many of you said you found it there. You saw it and you're like, huh, that's cool. And you get a feeling in your gut that's like, uh-huh, I want to go there, I want to do that. And that's the way that you need to make your decisions, okay? I'll get into more of that in a little bit, but we've got that ability to know when it's right for us. We have been taught in our life to not follow that, to go with our head. And human design says, no, no, no. It's not about the logic. It's not about making your charts of pluses and minuses. It's about how it feels, which is completely different. I mean, we hear go with your gut, we hear that kind of thing, but you know, it's not really the way we're taught to do things. So as a generator, we've got this constant, sustainable life force energy. You will have your sacral connected to some other center. You will have a channel somewhere connecting it. All right. All right. Manifesting generators. We got a bunch of you guys. So your combination of types, your combination manifestor, combination generator, two thrown together. However, it's that generator part that is really key for you. So you will have the defined sacral, as I said. So that's going to be connected to something. And in this case, you're going to have connection to the throat. The throat is all about being able to get things done and make things happen. In human design, we all want to have a connection to our throats so that we can do stuff. However, I caution you, manifesting generator, you need to, your sacral is the overriding thing you need to listen to. So again, you're here to respond to something. So you can't just go out and like make something happen, do it, you come up with an idea and just do it. You need to see something that you're responding to. And then you can inform people that you're going to do it and go out and do it. So you kind of got a two-pronged kind of thing going on there. Little twist on the generator. Okay. Then we've got manifestors. We don't have anybody in this particular webinar, but manifestors have a direct link to that throat somehow. And these are the possibilities that are shown. And as a manifestor, they're the only ones who can do what Nike says. They're the only ones in the world who can just do it. And as we saw, that was a very small percentage of the population. So this idea that we should all be able to go out and, you know, start our own business or make something happen is not exactly true. It's only the manifestor who can go out and just have an idea in their head and go do it. The thing with manifestors is that they come up with these ideas to do stuff. And I have to throw this in here. Putin is a manifestor. Hitler was a manifestor. I'm not saying manifestors are all bad, definitely not. But my point is that if they don't inform people about what it is they're going to do, they can really piss people off. So they need, if you're a manifestor or you have a manifestor in your life, they need to inform people before taking their action. And then it can be all good. Many people want to control the manifestor because they have this ability to make things happen. So many manifestors, you know, can feel really hindered by other people conditioned in their life to not take the action, and it can be very anger producing for them. So that's the manifestor. let's look at the projector. We had some of you in here. The projectors are a new kind of species of type which actually just came into being, I think it was in the late 1800s at some point. And projectors, that's when they first started arriving on the planet, apparently. So you're a little bit of a newer type projector. And you are here to be our managers, our guides, our directors. You do not have sacral defined. You do not have sustainable workforce energy, okay? And so like the generator who needs to respond to things, you are actually kind of like a step, not back, but you need another level beyond the response. You need to wait for people to recognize your brilliance, to be like, oh, you, Sheena, you know, aren't you awesome? Here's what you have to offer us. Or you, Carla, aren't you, you know? And then people will invite you to stuff and invite you for your opinion. And when you're in that place, that's where the projector wants to be. Because in that place, then you can do stuff and you can be the guide and you can be the manager and you can be the director. So that's a bit about the projectors. And then finally for our reflector, reflectors are completely open. So you may have the numbers, the gates defined in these various centers. You'll have those lit up, but none of those gates are going to connect to another gate and light up a center. So when a center is defined, we have consistent, reliable energy and use of that center. As a reflector, you do not have that consistency. You are literally open to your environment. So this makes you you can be very wise because you are constantly learning from your environment, constantly being changeable yourself. And the recommendation, although reflectors don't like to hear this, is that for you to make any major decision is to wait and talk about it over a lunar cycle of 28 days. Now, why is that a lunar cycle? Because over that time, you'll have different activations in your chart that will take place over those 28 days. And you gotta wanna wait for, you know, think about the decision like on day one, think about it 28 days later and see how that all kind of like churns out. It is a wait and see approach. So the reflectors are very cool. They are reflecting back to people. They show people who they are. And you're also reflecting back the state of our world and our environment. So it can also be, you can be highly conditioned by your environment and need to understand that you are open in these areas. And it's recommended that you kind of, you know, get some alone time, definitely, to kind of clear yourself, you know, out as best you can. So just a bit about the reflectors. And I'm so happy to have one with us here today. So what does this mean about the world of work? In my advertisement on Facebook for this event, I talked about, you know, rethinking and how do we make, you know, how do we use human design for our work situation? So looking at it, we've got, I'm going to just talk about the generators here. The generators with that constant sacral being turned on. You all can do a 9-to-5 regular job. I mean, we just can. As long as our gut says that's what we want to be doing, okay? Otherwise, we can burn out as well. We can be unhappy as well, but we can do that kind of 9-to-5 kind of thing, or we can do our own business. I'm a generator. I've got my own business. Now, the manifesting generators, they've got that extra hookup with the throat. So I also say this, but I've kind of flipped it around because a manifesting generator is a great type in order to have your own business because you've got that throat hookup, which is key. You can respond to things, you know, see what's going out there, see a need, and then you can do it. You know, it's like an extra level of being able to get things done. So manifesting generator, yes, you can do 9 to 5, but even more so you can do your own business. Projectors, as I said, now projectors, manifestors, and reflectors, all of those 3 types do not have that sacral constant work energy. Okay, so all of those 3 types need to have time by themselves, need to be more in control of their hours, need that flexibility. You also, work in spurts. You can work very hard, but you need to have that downtime. It's very important for you to have that downtime. I mean, you can probably, sustain a regular job, for, 10 years, but at some point, it is, it's wearing to you. You're more into the spurts of energy. What can also make a difference for you, I believe, is who you're around in that work environment. So my husband, for example, he's a projector, but he had a lamp store for many years. Okay, so that was, a schedule of, he would open at 10 and he would close at 6 or 7. So that's a good long day, but he had people coming in all day. And when people come into our aura, right? So within the 6-foot COVID distance, our centers, we literally complete each other, so if somebody has a gate on one side of a in one center and you've got the gate on the other side, you will actually complete each other's channels. So depending on who you're around in your work environment, you manifestors, projectors, and reflectors, they could hook you up for a day. I mean, I think my husband was pretty fine, working at the lamp store, every day, because he had people coming in who would literally, hook up his sacral and give him work energy. All right, so that's a bit about the basics of how your type affects your work. Okay. What about making decisions? How are you gonna make those decisions? So this gets back onto your chart. You'll see something called your strategy. And this is about your strategy. So the generators, as I said, your strategy in life, your key to life really is waiting to respond. So you're waiting for something to show up in your environment. Okay, and then you're going to, you can do something with that. You're good to go. As long as your gut is saying, it's a gut response. Mine feels more like a, In human design, you'll always hear it's like a or a kind of thing, but mine is more of a kind of thing. If you get a I don't know, that's pretty much a don't do it, wait and let it go kind of thing. Manifesting generators, you also have the respond thing going on, but then you can decide to do it and inform those around you, and you will be good to go. Projectors, as I said, you're going to want to wait for somebody to invite you. You're going to want to wait for somebody to see you, be recognized, and then invite you to become involved. I just was talking to my husband before I started this webinar, my projector husband, and he's a real estate developer. And I asked him about a new project he had going on. I said, did you initiate that with these other people, or did something else happen? And he said, oh no, they came to me. They came to me and hooked me up. So, this looks like it's going to be a great thing for him, but he was recognized and invited to participate. And so that's the wisdom here. The reflector, again, we're back to the waiting 28 days. I mean, and this is primarily, it's not for like, what you're going to have for lunch, obviously, but it's for the big decisions that you make in your life. And I have to say that now that I've been really enacting this in my life, and as I said, this webinar is clearly a manifestation of that, if you will, that I've really been going with what feels right to me. So, I saw that the rethinking idea was coming up in various places, various articles and things. And I said, again, that feels good to me. That title feels good to me. I think it's time, human design's coming up more. I'm going to, really go with that. And I've got more responses. I had over, I think, 600 people on Facebook interested in this event, which is crazy. I've never had that before. So that's really cool for me. So this is the real key here. It's really subtle. It can be not easy to do. The waiting is not easy to do sometimes. But this is how you can really make the decisions in your life, is to really go with, what feels good to you, or that invitation. Okay. So that is the basis of the information I'm going to present here to you, but I wanted to give you some options. And again, these are all going to be coming in the follow-up email. So you can get a 90-minute recorded session with me going over your chart. We will go over everything. We will go over your incarnation cross, which is your purpose in life. We'll go over the gates, the channels, your defined centers, what that means to you. We will go over the planets, and we will go over something called circuitry, which we did not cover today. And so that's $150. You get a 15-page report, it's at least 15 pages, and it covers everything. If you want something a little quicker, dirtier, if you will, without the report, you can have a 30-minute phone call together to go over your chart. You will still get the big stuff, but you won't get the report, and you won't get maybe, all the little, the details of it, but the general idea of who you are, you'll get that. Okay. So that's pretty cool. I also want to mention, I have a breathwork thing I do every month, which is $15. It's not much, but it's a donation for opioid awareness. Your money goes to, and it is life-changing. So you get tingles, you connect to your higher self, you free your emotions, you feel relaxed and peaceful. And it's basically a breathing technique where you take 2 breaths in and then you exhale. Sounds simple, but it's so powerful. And to do it in a group is really, really, really powerful. I'm doing one next week, next Tuesday night, and we're going to use a recording from my teacher, David Elliott, that he just came out with in light of what's happening in the world, and it's called I Am Safe. So if you want to feel better about the world, you want to get some release, you want to get some relaxation, maybe you want to get some direction from your spiritual team, I highly recommend this. So you will be hearing about that. And then finally, I've got coaching that I do. You can do the, I call it Brilliant Body, the breathwork one-on-one, either virtually or live with me, which can be really powerful. I use essential oils, I use crystals. It's really good stuff. Or if you just want to talk to me some more, you can do the 20-minute phone session. Okay. Okay, so that's enough of that stuff. I think we've got a little bit of time here left to look at some charts quickly. I'm going to pull up, let me stop. Let me see here. Let me get out of this. And we want to pull up, we're going to start with, let me get rid of this here so you guys can see. We are going to pull up my friend, Sheena. Sheena, if you want to, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself if you can.
Yep.
Sheena sent me her chart. Are you there, Sheena?
Yep.
All right. Oops, you just hide your top name there. All right, Sheena V. All right, cool. So Sheena, she sent me her chart. And if you do want to have a quick peek at your chart, I'm going to talk to Sheena for about 5 minutes. And then if you could put your hand up, hopefully I can figure out from Zoom who's putting their hand up, but we'll see. So Sheena, thank you so much. This is great because I can just jump right in and talk to you about this. Is anything that I've talked about so far ringing true for you with respect to your type?
Yeah, it's pretty much dead on.
Okay, and in what way?
I definitely respond. I don't sit and wait for instruction. If somebody gives me a task to do it, I do it. I'm a problem solver. That's just the way I've always been. I don't need an invitation, and I don't need an invitation to find work.
Okay, cool. So it's interesting that you said you're a problem solver, because that is what your chart is all about.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So as you can see, you've got this guy going both ways. It's red and black.
Yeah.
It's 48. This is called the channel of mastery. All right, so it connects the gate 48, which, as I said, the spleen center is has a lot of fear gates in it. All of these gates have like a lower energy and then a higher energy, you know, a ways to look at it. And the 48, which I have myself, can be the gate of self-doubt. Like, you need to know more. I need to know more. I need to know more. I need to know more. But on the plus side, especially since you have it connected to the throat here to the 16, you do learn more and you get to a stage of mastery then. What on the plus side, you know, beyond the fear of not knowing enough, is mastery, is the high side. Because that fear like kind of propels you to learn even more. And as I said, I studied, you know, I've been studying human design since 2014. So I kept thinking, I don't know enough. I don't know enough. I think I do. So that's one piece of it. But the big thing for you, as I said, with your sun and your earth, okay, these two up the top, and you've got a channel defined using the sun up here, the 63.
Yep.
So that's a key for you. That is called the channel of the logical mind. And it connects to something called the logic circuit in the collective circuitry. So just like an electrical circuit, there are circuits within our human design that get connected and do different things. And one of them is called the collective circuit. And the collective is all about, let me start, there's an individual circuit, which is about you personally as an individual and what you want to do in life. There's a tribal circuit, which is about you and your tribe, which is like your family, or maybe the people you work with every day, or your community, people that are closest to you, your tribe. And then there's the collective. So what we're seeing in your chart is the collective. You've got the 63-4, and I've got it up here in front of you. You've got, what else you got going? Oh, you've got the 15-5, and you've got that, again, going both ways. You've also got a piece of it down here with the 9, and you've got this whole channel going up to your throat. That is a lot, Sheena. I mean, it's huge. You've got so much of this collective logic circuit. So the collective is all about needing to and wanting to share with the world what you know. So it's not about you, it's not about the tribe, it's about the collective, the world, the bigger thing going out there. And the question for you is, can I share what I master, right, 4816, with the world? And how do I share what I know and what I master with the world? And you've got the logical thing going on. So I'm kind of reading from my notes that I have about this, that you know, it's a pattern recognition system that you have, seeing what's wrong, and you know, sharing how to correct that, or how to make things better, or for humanity as a whole. You can tend to be visual, and you're sharing patterns that are better than the previous pattern. Oops, we've got somebody else who's coming in at the last minute here, who dropped out, coming back in. Okay, so that's a big picture for you. What is ringing true for you, Sheena, about that?
All of it.
Am I surprised?
Yeah. The one thing that I did have that stuck out to me was the not self theme of frustration. And I just wanted you to elaborate on that one, because I think I know what it means just with the word frustration, because I use that word a lot.
Yeah.
But I just wondered from your perspective what that actually entails.
Right. So that is the not self theme is what I call your go-to negative emotion.
Okay.
And that is the same theme for everyone who is a manifesting generator or a generator in general. Both have the not self theme of feeling frustrated. So as generators, we want to work, we want to be satisfied, which is the signature or the go-to emotion. We want to feel satisfied that we have, we want to feel satisfied that we've gotten something done. And when we can't do that, when things don't happen or go our way, or we're not appropriately responding to things that light us up. You know, we get into work that isn't right for us. We take on a job because, you know, we felt like we had to, or somebody told us, or we felt some sort of weird obligation. You know, then we get frustrated.
Mhm.
So that's what that not self theme of frustration means. And then, so as you can also see here, so you've got your strategies to respond, your inner authority is that sacral, trusting your gut kind of thing. This incarnation cross, that is your sun and earth top 4 gates that we talked about. Okay. You also have the 6-2 profile, which we didn't talk about. It's another level of, there's so much detail in human design. It's kind of crazy. But if you look at the top dots up here, you got a 0.6 and 0.2. That's your 6-2. Okay, from the sun and the earth, the dots that come after your sun and the earth. So you are a 6-2, which is also, you know, you're here to be a leader. You're here to, you know, be the authority, literally be the authority. Sheena, are you the authority?
I like to be the authority of everything. But I don't like to be the boss. I like people to come to me, and I like to have the answer. And I expect myself to have the answer to everything. And if I don't, I'll find it.
Okay.
I am I'm a perfect second. So like I'm the authority on everything, master of nothing, which apparently I need to be a master of everything, according to this. But yeah, I like to be the go-to person for whoever's in charge.
Okay.
Much.
And so, and how old are you?
44.
Okay. So what also happens with this line 6, if you've got this, line 6 is called the role model. And you've got various stages in your life up until your Saturn return about the age of 28. You're sort of bopping about doing different things. And then from 28 up until about, I think it's the age 50, I'm not sure exactly, where you kind of observe the world and you're still doing stuff, you know, but you haven't really come into it yet. So, you know, you're going to come into it a little later and you're going to become, you know, could be same thing that you're doing now, but it could change and you will really come into being who Sheena was meant to be.
Oh.
So my husband, who was the lamp store guy, got rid of the lamp store and realized we could rent the lamp store for more than we were selling lamps. And then he got into commercial real estate. So it's kind of a great, useful example, I think.
I came onto this because I'm in limbo. I've had some health stuff and I don't really know what to do from here because now I'm limited. So that flexibility in hours is actually really important.
Okay. And the health stuff, I have to say, this 515 channel you got here. So this 5 is all about rhythms and habits. So you in particular, having that, need to have more structure in your life and habits. You're not completely spontaneous. So some of that might come into be. And the 51, I'm not sure if you had a major shock. Something big happened in your life that you don't have to tell me what it is.
Yeah.
If you don't want to share.
A couple of them actually in the same month.
So, you know, that's part of that. The 51 connects to the 25, which is love of spirit. So the shocks in our life connect us to our appreciation or, you know, more connection to our spiritual side. Each of these channels has a little story unto themselves. It's really kind of fun. All right, I'm going to see, did anybody see, where do I see the hands? Do I see the hands? Anybody want to put up a hand and talk about their particular chart? And we're going to say goodbye to Sheena.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And as I said, if you want any more detail, you know, just let me know and I can do the phone thingy via Zoom or the Zoom and the report on this. All right, anybody else? Do I have a hand? No, I don't see any hands. I have such trouble when I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see. There we go. Oh, Jen has a hand up. See, I can't see the hands when I'm sharing screen. So here we go, Jen, I'm going to unmute you.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Hi.
So Jen, tell me about your chart, what kind of type you are and that kind of thing.
Okay, so I just got into this like 2 days ago, but
Perfect.
it's funny. But I've been studying astrology since I was like 12, and I studied a little bit of Reiki, so I got into the chakras a little bit, and so I was surprised at how much it mirrors a lot of those things. And
Right.
so I was like, oh, okay, I'm probably a little bit further along, being that I can um get the hang of some of this, pretty quickly. But this other stuff is all new to me. Um, so I'm a 6-2 profile.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
I am a generator, emotional authority.
Okay.
Um,
So let me talk about that emotional authority. We didn't get into that
mhm,
too much, but if you do have that emotional center lit up and defined, and you've got something that
mhm,
says emotional authority. So in addition to waiting to respond as a generator, you need to wait until you are kind of emotionally clear.
mhm,
Because as having that emotional center defined, you've got waves of emotion.
mhm.
And depending on which gate you have, defines how quickly those emotions will go up and down. But I would ask you to start noticing your own waves that you might have. And then when you have major decisions, not making them in the moment, but allowing that emotional wave, thinking about it over a little bit of time to see, how you feel.
Yeah, because they change. Like
Yeah.
you said, I can be very reactive. I've even noticed with my kids, and I was laughing because yeah, I was saying earlier I had 10 kids, and it says like your life force is like raising children, and I'm like, that is so true for the last 25 years, and for the next 20 years I'll be doing it. But but I'm reactive, like with the kids or anything, I might get upset, and then and an hour later I could be over it. Whereas some of my children, I notice, like, some of them will be over it pretty quickly. We can go and sit and talk. Other
Mhm.
ones, it'll take a week. Some of them 6 months later, they're still angry about something. Whereas
So,
I've
yeah.
totally forgotten,
So
like,
I would look up their charts, get their charts done, and take a look and see whether their emotional center is defined or
mhm.
not. My emotional center is completely open. I don't even have a gate in that emotional center, and
Oh
I
wow.
am crazy affected by other people's emotions. I thought I actually had, like, depression and things. It was really just the people around me.
Yeah, the negativity around you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had no idea, and again, like, this is the thing about the human design chart. I've had that chart in front of me since 2014, and I never, even though I know this,
Mhm.
I looked at it, I was like, well, duh, Joanne, like, you're completely open. So there's so much in the chart. It kind of takes you a while to find out all the bits and pieces about yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what's
Yeah.
your incarnation cross? Your
Um,
sun
so
numbers.
this what I just read about this, and I was like, oh my goodness. So it's left angle cross of confrontation.
Oh, they have nasty names, some of them.
I know it sounds scary, and I was like, oh my gosh, this cannot be good. Right? So when I was reading it, though, I was really surprised, and I said, oh my gosh, this is so me. Like, so yes, I am confrontational. If I see something that is not right, or I just know, like, I have to say something. And it says, like, that's kind of the purpose. Like, we're here to call out those
Yeah,
corrections that need to be made,
yeah.
especially in leadership where no one else wants to stand up and say something. I
Hmm.
would be the one to stand up and say something. And I said, yeah, that's probably me from like even childhood. I would be the one to step up and be like, hey, that's not right, and kind of speak even for like the little ones who can't speak for themselves and
Yeah.
things like that, like
So
um
yeah, that's good. So look at those top, look up the gates, those top four gates, and
mhm,
read about the top four gates and come up with your own interpretation of what that means for you. I mean,
mhm,
someone looked at these, put up, these little descriptions that you can find online for that, but you really need to contemplate what those 4 gates mean for you, and they are the 4 most important in your life. All right,
Mhm.
I'm going to ask Carla to unmute. And Carla, thank you, Jen, sharing.
Thank you.
I didn't have my microphone on, sorry. Hi, everyone. First of
Hi,
all,
Carla.
I apologize for my English, but I'm not, I live in Europe, I live in Portugal, so English is not my native language.
You sound perfect,
Um,
Carla.
Thank you. And yes, I had my hand up because you asked someone to raise their hands, and I did. So I don't know if you still have time to talk about my chart or not, but that's
Yeah,
why.
just we can talk about it a little quickly. So what's your type?
Well, I'm pretty much as Jen and the other lady just talked, Jeannie. I'm not sure, sorry, but
Generator?
I'm a generator. I'm a satisfaction signature. Note to self theme is frustration. Strategy is to respond. Inner authority, emotional
Okay, so
authority.
you like Jen have that emotional center defined. So for you
Yeah,
to make decisions, you need to wait a little bit and ride out what's called your emotional wave. Okay.
yeah, I'm pretty emotional in everything. That is very true. And
So that's an important,
and
that's the gift of life, Carla. Go ahead.
my left angle, sorry, my incarnation cross is left angle cross of refinement. I believe that's how you say
What
that
gates are
word.
those? What gates are those? Can you give me the numbers?
Uh,
To it?
yeah, 3319 and 21.
39, 33, 19, and 2, 1. Let me see. Now I don't have all these
Yeah.
memorized, but let's just take a quick look. The 1 I know is a channel, is a leadership thing, is a creativity leadership thing. Okay. The gate 1 is actually called creativity and a unique contribution. So that's about making a unique contribution to the world. And you might feel some pressure to fulfill your life purpose. And if you don't do that, you're feeling, a little frustrated. But that's about making a contribution to the world. The 19th is, the 19th is a sensitivity gate. You can be, yeah, very sensitive to the things around you, to other people, to even to like food and stuff potentially. It's a deep connection with animals you can have as well. Relationships are very important to you. And you can hold on potentially too long to relationships.
Yes, I've been married. I'm 47 and I've been married for 28, I believe. So,
So yeah, you don't let go of those things.
no,
Let me look. Oh, the gate 2.
I have a connection between 19 and 49. I'm not sure what that means. Like a
Oh, so
channel,
that's
a black.
your route to your emotional center. It sounds like the
Okay.
1949.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me just finish with your gates. So
Okay.
you had the creativity gate, the sensitivity gate. You've got right, but receptive, it's called great gate 2. Gate 2 is about spending money, allocating and managing resources. Interesting. And then the 33, and you can Google any gates, just Google human design gate 33, and you'll
Okay.
find a wealth of information out there. The gate 33 is about needing alone time and learning from the past. So, you look at these 4 and really think about them, and it doesn't seem to make sense, when you first look at them. But think about them, see what they mean, see how they play out in your life. Look at the ones that are black, the conscious ones, and see whether you relate more easily to those than the red ones, that kind of thing. But these 4 are the, real combination to, who you are and what you're about. Okay, Carl?
Okay. Okay.
All right, thank you.
The profile is 5-1, so I'm not sure what that means either.
Oh, 5-1. Basically the 1 is you want to learn. You're here to get really deep into stuff. You want to be secure in your knowledge and you love to learn. That's your thing. It's called the investigator. And the 5 is kind of a leadership. You can impact other people with your particular style. So it's a combination of those two really quickly.
Okay,
All
thanks
right.
so much.
I'm going to take one more. Let's see. Oh, let's see here. Rebecca, ask to unmute. Let's see. Come on. Come on. It is not letting me ask you to unmute. Oh, there we go.
Hi, can you hear me now?
I can.
I'm like the other girl. I just kind of got into all this and I'm learning also. And I heard you, I don't have anybody, or I don't have a chart. Well, I have one, but I don't understand it. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But my question is, I heard you honing in on things like people that the emotional openings and stuff like that. And I can very much resonate. I'm an emotional person. I react, all those things, and like decisions and stuff like that. So where is, I guess, where is the chart to follow how to fix those things? Like if you don't want to be so emotional or you don't want to be so reactive.
So Rebecca, let's back up a little bit. So is that emotional? Do you remember where that emotional center was? It was on the what side is that? The right side, middle. Is that lit up? Your emotion? Do you have emotional authority? Did it say?
Yes, I'm open. I'm open to everybody. Just like you said, like people's energy and vibe affects me a lot. And
That's not colored in. That one isn't
yeah,
colored
so I thought it was depressed, but it's more the people I'm around. Yeah.
Well, hopefully you found it out earlier than I did. It took me a really, I was really in bad shape about that. Yeah, so so we're not here to fix ourselves, right? So we are all unique, beautiful, brilliant human beings. But what human design is it shows us that, so you can look at that and say, okay, wow, look, that's who I am. So having that, if you do have that emotional center open, as I said, either completely open with nothing in there, or even a gate, which would make it called undefined instead of open. So we need to, there's a bunch of things we can do. I'm still trying to find one that really works really well. I mean, grounding, have you heard of grounding? You know that, right? From the
Yes.
So, you want to ground, you want to use your grounding essential oils, you want to, walk outside, you want to do, the spiritual, connect to the middle of the earth and, ground yourself with roots and that kind of thing. All that can help. You want to protect your energy space by, creating the bubble. You want to, also a technique where you take whatever you're feeling that's kind of nasty and you kind of throw it somewhere else.
Okay.
Just that can work. I took some classes from this Boulder Psychic Institute, which was really fun, and they talk about taking those things you might feeling and putting them at to a rose that you visualize, and putting them out on the rose that's distanced from you. That can be helpful. I found there's a technique that Donna Eden, the energy specialist, talks about that works kind of well for me, where you pull down from your shoulder and you cross. Can you see me?
Yes.
Cross that way. It actually feels really good. That our energy can get stuck going one way, and that this makes it go kind of back and forth the way it's supposed to, or something. I don't know. So that can be helpful. Emotional freedom technique. Have you heard of that, EFT?
I have, but I haven't looked into it too much.
You like tap various parts of your body.
Oh yes, tapping. Okay, yes, I'm familiar with tapping.
So there's a website.
It's not so. I guess it's not so much. What I want to say, anxiety is it is like with that emotional thing being open. I feel guilty for everyone else's, like everyone else's things, or if you do something very minimal, you feel really guilty when you really didn't do anything, but yet you're the one that's always overdoing and giving more. It's kind of like
so I'd have to look at your chart, but you might have that tribal energy going on as well. You might have the tribal circuitry going on, which connects you to the family more, so you're going to feel that. You might have
Okay.
you might have some of that going on. Is a piece of it. I don't know that there's a way, around that except to, distance yourself from the people, and kind of help to clear some of that out.
And that's basically, I hate to say it, but my life has made a big 180 again, after so many years. And I keep trying to hold on to the past, and distancing myself from the past is what is making me better. So it's a hard switch to make, especially like with the thing today and making decisions. It's, do I move forward and leave everything behind, or do I try to take it with me? Like,
Right. And there are gates in the chart that are those kind of holding on to things. Who was I just talking to? Was it Rebecca, who had one of those gates where we tend to hold on to things a little bit too long? I don't know whether that was the 19, I can't remember, 33.
yes, I definitely do that.
That might be part of that as well. So you're a generator though, right, Rebecca?
I'm a manifesting generator.
A manifesting generator. So, I mean, the real key, as I said, is to really wait to have something show up in your life, in your environment, and then you respond to that. So I completely have shifted my coaching. I mean, I was doing leadership coaching for STEM women, which I can do. Okay, that's my background. I can do that. It was just not my thing. It just really wasn't. And then the pandemic hit and various things happened with my family members that really shocked me and jolted me. And I said, that's it. I'm done here. I'm done here. And then I did nothing for all of 2020. I mean, most of 2021, I like laid low and then just waited, and the breath work thing came up at the very end of last year. And that was the thing that really catapulted me. The breath work is just, I can't talk about it enough. Really jolted me, the one last step. And now I'm the new logo, I'm breath work, I'm human design, and it's a whole new world. So I let go of that whole thing.
Right.
All right, we're gonna take one more because we do have one more hand up.
Thank
Jeannie.
you.
Thank you. Trying to, there we go.
Hello.
Hey, Jeannie, what's going on with you? What type are you?
Well, I'm actually similar to a lot of the other ladies. It's a generator. The only one that I'm, and I the emotional authority as well, but I'm also looking at the left angle cross of spirit, because that was a different one than
That sounds like a fun one. What numbers do you have in that? What gates?
59/55
Okay.
and 16/9.
16:9. Okay, so let's see. Let me see what's going on with those. 55, 59. Interesting. That has a very cool name. I love the ones with the fun names, 55 is abundance. You can struggle with uncertainty. But it's either like the high, energy is abundance, or it's a fear of the lack, struggling with uncertainty kind of thing on the downside. So you've got abundance and you've got, seduction, sexuality, 59. So that sounds like a tribal kind of thing. Works to create resources for the family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Where bonding strategy, let's see, I'm not sure. Aura busting. Okay, so people notice you with an aura busting gate. When you come in, people see you. Let me see. The 9 is focus, extremely focused, but not necessarily for long periods of time.
Yeah.
Can be all over the place, but when you do it, you're focused. Or you can, on the low side, it could be an obsessive sort of thing. Capacity for obsessive behavior. All right, and then the 16 is enthusiasm. You can wing it. You can sometimes leap before you're prepared. Sometimes you have to start over. But it's also the gate of skills. Ra called it. Energy to dive in and experiment and figure it out later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a mix of those. I'm not quite sure what to make of that, frankly, that mix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
And then it's called, what is it called again? About spirit?
It's Cross of Spirit.
Crosses, probably because that enthusiasm piece, you know?
And you said the 59 was, what was it again? Seduction and sexuality?
That must be, yeah, it must be connected to the sacral, which is the center for
Mhm.
sex.
Yeah.
Let me look somewhere else for you real quick for that one. That was what, the 59?
Yeah, and it's connected to 6. The channel is completely open. It's
Okay.
half black and half red.
Oh, so you got it. That means you got it in the unconscious and the conscious. The
Okay.
red numbers. If you look in your numbers going up and down, you'll see it twice.
Okay.
So that's the 59, sexuality, gate of seduction. People with the gate 59 try to get to the bottom of intimacy.
Hmm.
Master intimacy with investigation. You might think you don't know much about intimacy at all and may need others to bring it into your awareness. Prefer to be romantically involved with someone who is your best friend.
Mm-hmm.
True deep intimacy is most often found with their soulmate. Seducing and being seduced by their partner. That's like, you know, some of the gates are, I'm still trying to understand, you know. Some of them are real clear cut and easy, and other ones are a little like, I'm not sure. I need to learn more. I'm currently studying with Chetan, who knew Ra before Ra passed away, which has been really, really cool. So I'm trying to
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. All right, I'm going to sign off with you guys and wish you all well. Oops, let me get rid of Sheena's chart here. Goodbye, Sheena. And if you want to do any of the stuff that I've got to offer, just let me know. I'm here for you, and I hope you all have fun with your human design journey. All right. Signing off now. See you guys. Thanks for coming.